So over the last 4 or 5 months I've been experimenting with this idea of deep play, and I will tell you everything about it in this video. It's not about your search history during a drunken night alone. It's actually about how you can recharge yourself by playing, by doing. Because I always used to think that energy and creativity are like a battery that we need to recharge by just doing nothing. And if you are a creative person like me, or you're a writer, and you feel guilty when you are doing something else than writing, then I have good news for you. Because in this video you will learn that the best writing and the best creative work actually happens when you are not writing. You will learn that the tired parts of your mind can be strengthened and rested not merely by rest, but by using other parts. That's a quote by Alex Pang, the writer of the book Rest. So how is it possible to relax while doing things? Like many kids when I was young, I used to help my parents in the garden, and my dad always told me the same stuff. Stop playing around! Because whenever we were raking the leaves, I would try to see if I could grab the leaves with 2 rakes, or maybe just make a huge pile of leaves and jump in it, or try to see if I can balance a wheelbarrow in one hand while riding it. And when you grow older, you might leave this childish or creative part of yourself behind you in order to try and fit in. But I can tell you, after reading this book and reading much more about it, that the most creative and successful people in the world still play around a lot. And this is not just play, it's called deep play. And it will boost your creativity, and it's a source of rest. So how can you use deep play in your life to write and rest better? First of all, just pick any activity that sparks joy inside of you. It can be running, 3D printing, making chocolates, making a pizza oven, flying a drone, kayaking, you name it. And there's something that I noticed quite paradoxical about deep play, because the depth of your rest will be determined by something that psychologists call detachment. And it means that you had no thoughts in your mind about your work. So if you didn't think about work, then that's good. And then on the other hand, people find that deep play can be a symbol of their real life work. And they find real life meaning in the play that they are doing. So for example, a mathematician who's also rock climbing sees the connections between the logical puzzles that he has to make and the way that he has to think about fitting his body to the rocks, and also like fitting the right numbers into the formula. Or maybe an entrepreneur who is really into chess, and he starts to see the connections between like the strategy that he uses in one field, and it connects to the strategy that he uses as an entrepreneur. So for me personally, writing and making videos is deep play, and I will tell you everything about it. I am running a startup. As you can see, we're making beautiful vertical gardens. They are actually real, no plastic. They are living, breathing beings. And for a while I was kind of troubled by this split between branding and marketing. I couldn't really figure it out. So after a while I realized that branding is more like a symbolic long-term thing, and marketing is more short-term and focused on communicating clear pains and gains. So that said, with this question in the back of my mind, not even searching for an answer, I was researching this topic of deep play, and I started researching about Clifford Geertz, who is the anthropologist who first used this term. Because before him, anthropologists always looked at people in a super objective way. They always used to ask themselves the question, what is the function of this cultural activity, like religion or Christmas or twerking or any other cultural activity. But he asked a deeper and more meaningful question. He asked, what does it mean to people to do this? Instead of focusing on the usefulness, he focused on the symbolic meaning. And that is exactly why this is called deep play. And all of a sudden it clicked in my mind. My whole struggle with grasping the difference between marketing and branding made sense because I was doing deep play. I realized that we can describe the vertical gardens in terms of their function. Yeah, they clean the air, they have an acoustic function, they make you more positive when you're around them. But what does it really mean to me or to other people to have this vertical garden in their life? It shows that I love nature and that I care about the people around me, that I care about connection, I care about myself, I care about the planet. So through deep play, I finally understood the difference between marketing and branding. So how do you know whether you are engaging in deep play or whether it's just shallow play? So let's have a look at shallow, simple game of chance, like rolling a dice. There's no identity involved, there's no strategy involved, there's no personal significant meaning involved. So why is there no strategy involved? It doesn't challenge your mind, it doesn't absorb your mind when you're playing a game of chess because you're not thinking about what to do next. Also, identity is not involved because it doesn't tell you anything about your character or about the identity or character of the other person. So an example of deep play in entrepreneurship is Richard Branson, who goes on big adventurous quests to show that he's a risk-taking entrepreneur, and he does like high altitude balloon flights and he goes into space, all as a form of deep play to connect to his work as an entrepreneur. And third, in rolling a dice, there's also no deeper meaning. So an example of deeper meaning in deep play is when you watch the Netflix documentary Free Solo. And I mean not you watching it, I mean Alex Honnold climbing El Capitan 900 meters high with no rope. Because he said every hold that he did, every grip that he did had ultimate meaning because literally his life depended on it. So those are three important things for deep play. And one other great example that I found was actually a video that I made a few years back about Spiral Dynamics stage Yellow, because the people in this stage learn a lot, not only about the things that they are doing at that moment, but also peripherally to it. And this might sound complicated, but simply put, it means they pick up knowledge beyond the task itself. So the brain of this person, and I know this is gonna sound super cool, is more like a virtual reality machine who views parallel versions of reality and sees the interconnections between all of these and learns about all of these different things in parallel. And I find this idea really exciting. So here's a few examples. You are listening to a podcast, and at the same time you're also realizing the importance of tonality in voice. See what I did there? Or maybe you are bird watching, and at the same time you're also learning about the human mating instinct because you see how they interact with each other and how one is like playing hard to get and then slowly they are giving in, and you know, all the things in nature are happening. Or maybe you are simply planning your week and you realize that the language that you're using inside of your mind actually determines how you look at your planning. So instead of saying I have to, you say I want to, and it all changes your perception. Or maybe you just read a book about NLP or social dynamics and you go to a party and you realize that people are grouping into groups not based on logics but on the energy that they carry. And these kind of insights often happen when there's an unsolved question inside of your mind, just like I had about branding and marketing. And it's not necessary to have unanswered questions in your mind, but it really helps because it's an essential part of the creative process, and I will go deeper into this in next videos. So then, how is it possible to get your best writing done when you are not writing? By doing activities that create your identity, challenge your mind, and also have personal meaning. So go do them, and trust me, you will learn a lot, because what better way is there to spend your non-working time than to just learn more? Because your skills will not only exponentially grow, because once you learn a skill you will have it for life, but they will also cross-pollinate with each other. Because when you learn 3D modeling and you learn marketing, all of a sudden you can start your own 3D print shop like I did, which was also another one of my deep play hobbies. Come check out this Japanese style lamp that I created after I lived in Japan. And it has been a great source of deep play for me because it involves the same kind of skills that I need right now in this vertical garden startup. So from now on I will be creating more videos in which I am building vertical gardens or pizza ovens or even chocolates, not to educate you about the technical details, but to really dive into the creative process, because I think this is one of the most essential things that we can all learn about in life. And you will learn about psychology and flow and inspiration. And I hope that this video was helpful to you, and I hope that you liked it. And I will see you next time.